Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Fittingly, we have been discussing invisible things. The things that we discuss, the emotional body, all of these things, concepts, beautiful and invisible. The subject of the Buddha was brought up, so let me continue. One of the most unusual messages of the Buddha, over ages remembered and written up, discussed, analyzed, is a time when his entourage was gathered before him. There were those around him expecting still another profound message. And as they tell it, he brings a flower and begins to look at it. And for the entire time of the message, not one word was spoken, not one. And yet there was a message. You see, he was gazing at the flower. And some say, well, this was Buddha telling us about Gaia and the connection with all things, being one with all things. It was more than that. For it was a study of existence. Very esoteric indeed. But in the simplest way, he was studying the existence of the flower. Pasting that upon the existence of the human as they walk on this planet. What they're doing here, just like the flower. What is its purpose? What's next for it? But it exists. We bring this to a practical conclusion, and we say the study of existence is truly the study of reality. What is your reality today? You know you exist. You can contemplate your own existence. That's what gives you the brand of an intelligent being. The pondering of why you're here. But dear ones, that existence that you look at is so much larger than you think. So much larger. You're approaching an age which is different. An age where so many things can now start to evolve and change and bring a world that no one has seen. In all that is appropriate and good and benevolent on this planet, this is probably one of the most important times there's ever been. It is a radical change in existence of the human being. I want you to think for a moment in the realm of what you cannot see. What might there be that you don't expect? Oh, there are those who say, well, there he goes again, that Kryon, talking about invisible things. How can we relate to invisible things when we're in a linear world and we don't have invisible things? And then I would remind every human being that your life is filled with invisible energy. And maybe you didn't even think about it or know about it or want to admit it. Draw gravity for me. And tell me all about it, and you can't. All you can tell me is that it exists and always has. Most of you don't even know why, but you live with it. It is one of the largest invisible energies that you will encounter in your life, gravity. It's invisible, totally. Your magnetic grid is invisible, totally. There are only a few giveaways that it actually works or it actually is there, and that is when you see it interact with another magnetic field of the sun. And you call it the aurora borealis when it's in the north. It's invisible. It's energy. It's tremendous energy. You live with this. Had you ever thought of that? I'm going to give you the biggest one. I want you to draw love for me. And you can. Love is an enormous energy. When two hearts are entangled in coherence, it affects the brain oddly. People in love do stupid things. What an energy, totally invisible, right out of the emotional body. I preface all of these things. That's the introduction to invisible things. What if that were just the tip of the iceberg, as they say? What if invisible things for you were always there? The human being has free choice. This is an axiom of the Creator. You don't push the envelope of free choice. You can give humans hints and ideas and help them along in angelic visits and all that is, but you don't push their free choice. It must be free. It must be free. And in this new energy, there's going to be a lot of, I will say, exposition of beautiful things. And for the old soul to go to this next step, to find the spark that we have talked about, that will open the window of invisible things, there's going to be a lot of connection with your heart. You see, this is what Spirit is the best at. Touching hearts and saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. But it's still free choice. In these next years, dear ones, there are so many who will have epiphanies of realization of invisible things that are beautiful, that will change life. There is resistance always to change. Some will find this spark and this awareness of invisible things because they go to a dark place and they're in trouble. And they will hear these messages and it will bring them to a point of decision, to look where human beings haven't looked before, to an invisible energy as strong as gravity or the magnetic field or as love, but perhaps even stronger and more powerful and more profound. It's the energy of your soul. I've used the example before that there is an outstretched hand. And in this energy, the hand is as big as it ever has been. And it's just out of sight. With free choice, the question is, will you take the hand? And it's a metaphor, of course, there is no hand, but it's like there was, because you will feel that hand in yours, pulling you out of the depths of darkness into the light, and then letting go so that you can feel all that invisibility that is there, the connection with an evolvement, a higher vibrating consciousness and awareness, where all things start to change, where attitudes and perceptions start to change. The aha experience that so many have had in this room even. You don't have to go to a dark place for this, dear ones. You can do it with spiritual logic just by listening to this message and sitting in a place where you're alone and you feel comfortable and you're in coherence with all that is, and you say to Spirit, show me more. Dear Spirit, if you're out there and I'm missing anything, I give permission to be shown what it is. It's as simple as that. It really is. That is pure intent. 30 years ago, when my partner sat in his chair and realized that there was more to the world than he knew. When he started his journey on invisible things, including the connection with Kryon, he had no idea at that point the grandness of what was out there. He had to be given it little by little because it would have been too much for him to have it all at once. We've told him he might even have burned up if we had given it to him all at once because his vibration was so low at that time. There are other planets in this galaxy of yours who have gone through what you have gone through. Many. Some didn't make it. Free choice, dear ones. Some didn't make it. Many did. And if you could be with them today, you would find planets much like yours, with societies and cultures much like yours, logic much like yours, those looking much like you do. But there'd be a big difference. If they've gone through 1,000,000 years of examination and the cycles that are always there for planets to go through and learn and evolve, you may come across one or two who have even gone beyond that which is corporeal. I'll call them ascended planets, where they fully realized what was invisible and melded with their soul. They can control physics appropriately, where there's no real death anymore, and there hasn't been disease for 1,000 years. You might say it would look like a planet of angels, and you'd be right. Because there's a fine line differentiation between what you would consider an angel from beyond or an ascended being from another place. That's the possibilities. They're the ones who will often visit here. They're the ones who will show themselves and you'll say, an angel appeared to me today. That was the one on Mount Sinai who was always called a burning bush. Angelic presence coming from other parts of the galaxy, some will call that blasphemous. It has to come from God. Well, it did, and it does, and so does your meld with your soul. You have God inside, God inside, God inside. Aren't you interested in capturing the beauty and the magnificence of the potential of your lineage and where you may go? Old soul, you're coming back and back and back. For this planet has a long way to go and we need you. And that's why you came. That's the message of Kryon and always will, but it becomes more poignant, more practical perhaps, more esoteric at the same time. But there are so many discovering right now these things. And you can talk to them and you can see God in their eyes. And they're not all simply New Age people. They're regular people all over the planet in many, many belief systems where God is starting to get bigger to them. And they're starting to realize there's something out there that's beyond anything they were ever told. Let that be you. And understand the truth and the reality of these things as you walk the rest of your life here. And so it is.